Hello, Closet Car. Hello, Judith.
Hi, Mansi.
How are you today?
I'm great. Hi, guys.
Hi. So, today I'm here with Judith, and we're going to take you through the construction of the back yoke for Fran.
Yes, it's like we can call it an inverted burrito method because we wanted to insert the color into the facing and the yoke and make it really pretty inside, just like when you do a regular burrito method for a shirt. But this way we couldn't do it in a regular way, so we had to find another
Yeah. So instead, in a regular burrito,
Yes,
you
like this one.
you take your yolks. This is Cali.
Yes. So
You take your yolks and you sew the bottom of the back yoke first,
yes.
and after you sew the shoulders. And what magical method did you come up with
at
today?
the end, yeah, you can put your color stand in your color. So to do the burrito method, the inverted burrito method, you have to take your facings and you're going to put your facings and your inside yoke together, and you're going to put your front and your back, your exterior yoke together, and you're going to put your color inside, and you're going to flip everything around, and then we're going to sew the bottom of the yoke. So that way we're going to be able to enclose the facing, the color, your shoulder, your two yokes all together, and it's going to look all nice and clean. And it's really easy. It looks hard because it's something I haven't personally see before, but it's really easy to do. You'll see, I'll show you step by steps, and it's you can use it probably every time you have a facing, even if you have a color stand. If you have a facing, you can use that method to do a shirt or some kind of jacket, as long as the fabric is not too thick. Because when you do the burrito and you have to flip it inside out, it has to go through the arm, like the armhole
Yeah, the armhole of
of the
yoke.
yoke. So if you can fit it through the armhole of the yoke, then you're all set. If your fabric is like really like maybe like a wool or something thicker, it's going to be too hard, and you don't want to stretch your armhole.
Yeah. So we're calling the inverted burrito because the last thing that you saw is the yoke.
The bottom of the yoke.
The bottom of the yoke.
So instead of doing your shoulders, after doing the burrito, you're doing the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's like an upside down burrito.
So you can use it anytime you have a facing.
Anytime you have a
Okay.
facing.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Great. So do you know which fabrics we're gonna use today?
Well, today we're gonna do one for Muncie. So we're using, I have to read it, the substantial organic cotton broadcloth in deep teal, which is a color I love, and Dijon from Core Fabrics. So it's gonna be so beautiful, and you're gonna see, to make it easier, we're gonna use like the facing and the top color, one color, and the other side is going to be the teal, and you can do the sleeves another color. You can play with stripes like this and like that, and it's like so fun. You can make it really, really your own. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern.
Yeah, it's more than a pajama.
For sure. You can do like a top. You can wear it as a blouse, not a blouse, as a shirt.
Yeah.
You can do just about anything depending on the fabric you're using. Like you can live your life in a friend.
In comfort.
Yes, in comfort.
And feel like you're in pajamas.
Yes, exactly. It's like a glamour comfort.
Great. Okay, take it away, Judith.
Thank you. We will need my favorite little chalk pen. We will also need a little ruler, pelican scissors to make the seam smaller, You can use a little scissor like this to cut the thread, seam ripper, because we always have to start over sometimes. It happens to all of us. Scissors, and a press to make your seam really, really crisp. I love using one like this. And of course, pins and a iron that has steam to help press beautifully your seams. So we'll start with the color. So this is your pattern piece. With the color, you have to cut 2 and you have to interface 1. So the one you are going to interface is the one that when you turn your color over, it's going to be the one that you see on the outside. Using this shirt, you want to interface this part, because when you roll it like this is the outside of your color. In the instructions, we tell you to take the not interfaced color, and you can cut 1/8 of an inch or a little less all around. That way, when you turn your color and you match like this, it's going to be shorter on the underside, so it's going to make a nicer roll here. You won't see the underside. To make sure that I stitch at 3/8 all around, I used a ruler and a little pen or chalk pen, and I put little marks where it ends at like the corners here, to make sure that I put my needle down, pivot, and go all the way around. What I also like to do when I do a color is reinforce the corner here. So if I go, let's say at 2.5, my stitch length, I'll do 1.5 when I get here and all the way to the corner, pivot and do 1.5 all the way up to here, and then I'll continue at 2.5 and do the same thing at the other end. That way you can cut really close to the corner on both sides. And here you can notch in your seam allowance, so that when you turn it around, it's will be really easier to press. So what I like to do is take my seam and open it with my fingers a little, and then use your iron and press it. You can go like this with a clapper to really make your seam very crisp. You can also use a hand to go like this. When you go to the end, a point presser like this, and it makes it really easy to do your corners like this. I've seen a lot of patterns, so you can, like, if you have a jigsaw at home, a little piece of wood, you can probably make one yourself. It's not a hard project if you want to start woodworking. It's like a fun project, and then it's like you can use it in your sewing room. So you can use a little pointer like this, and you can help it with your fingers. We have a blog post about doing turning corners like that, which is really good on the website. So you can do like threads and pull and things like that. And you can see by having the underside a little smaller, it makes it really easy to turn it around like that. So we only see the Dijon color. Oops, look what I did. There you go. Now it looks all nice. So now we're going to start assembling our inverted burrito method or upside down burrito method, you need your yolk. So you have your interior yolk that is going to be our Dijon color. And later we'll do the other side with our exterior yolk, which is the teal color. So we have our yolk like this. So this is the inside of my yolk. So this piece. And we have both our facing. So with our facing, I already, we tell you to turn it a quarter of an inch or about 2 times and and stitch it in place. So I already did that. So we are going to take both our facings and we are going to attach them and we pin it. And it's gonna match at the notch here, like this. So both are facing, we're gonna sew here and on the other side. One step I forgot to tell you is usually you should always stay stitched around the color like this, so it doesn't not spread but stretch. So right now I didn't do it, but you better do it. So we take the other side, the other yoke, which is our exterior yoke. So that would be your good side. And we take our front, our top front. I marked my pieces. I already put my button loop, but you can do that further on, like this in the instruction. I already put mine right away. So we have our front. Now put our yoke to our front. So we'll go to the machine and sew the shoulder seams. So we have our front and our yoke. So that's our outside. I'm going to press my seam to the back. So we have our outside like this. I'll show you on the other side. Like this, and I put the little button loop before. So that's the outside. We did our inside. So now we are going to put our color to the inside like this. So remember, this is the inside with your facing, and then you're going to have your outside. So when you put your color, you have to think that this is the inside, but when you're going to sew it together and it's going to turn like this, this is the part of the color you're going to see. So we have to take that one and put it, it's like you're putting the exterior color on the interior of your pajama, okay? Here, when you do your top stitch, it also helps you stay stitch. It also helps you, like we should do little notches to help us put the color. So it helps you to be able to not go too far. You can do little notches like this. When you get up to the point, that's where you want your color to match. And see, by doing notches like this, it's easier. This. You can do the same thing to the back. Just maybe even like 3/8. Because you don't want to make your seam allowance or your fabric like more fragile, let's say. You just want to be able to so the curve becomes straight, so you're able to put the color in like this, because it would be so hard to turn like something that's a straight line and curved. I mean, you would have to go like little by little this way. You're just opening it. If the fabric frays, then you have a problem. What you can do if the fabric frays, I would do like a stay stitch, maybe even two, to be sure. And usually if the fabric frays a lot, it's because it's loosely woven. And if it's loosely woven, you can like stretch it and play with it a little. So I wouldn't even cut into it. I would just like play a little with it like that. This one, it's tightly woven, so we can't do that. But is that what you would do also?
Yeah, and if you have the line of stay stitching in all these pieces, then you know that you're not crossing that line.
Exactly. Like here, if I would, let me show you on the other side. Like you have your line of stay stitch. Well, I know that if I go all the way up to there, I'm still okay because I stitch at 1/2 inch and I know that I'm gonna do my final stitch line at 5/8. So I know that I'm okay. So that's a good thing about stay stitching. And here, when you have interfacing, you don't need to stay stitch because it's already reinforced, so it won't move. But I can do little ones here. When you're not used to it, it's a good idea to do a row stitching. So you just go like this and don't fold too much. Just so here on the pattern we say 5/8. We can do 5/8. You can also do it at 1/2 inch, and then when we'll sew all around, you do your 5/8, and then you're sure not to have like stitches here that you have to take out. So you can do 5/8 or 1/2 inch. And I like to have the color on top because under you have that curved shape and it's gonna want to pucker like that. So with your hand, while you sew, you can place your fabric like that while you sew. So you're gonna make sure that you won't have little puckers like that. So you take your time. And I like to have my needle stay down. That way I know that like my fabric's not moving. So I place my fabric under to make sure I don't have puckers. I check that on the other side my seams are together. And so the back curve is more pronounced, so you have to be extra careful. It's better to take your time than having to unpick your stitches because you have little puckers. So now I get to the middle. And you can check when you get to the middle, let's say you can check that your knots are still together. That way you know that none of your fabric moved, because sometimes your top fabric is going to want to go a little faster than your fabric under. So you can check that as well. With this machine, we have a walking foot in the back, which is amazing. And you can probably, depending on your machine, you can get a walking foot attachment for about every brand if you want now. And it's really nice to have. That way, like, both layers move at the same time. Okay. And here it's the same thing. You can see it wants to pull this way, so you take your color and you make it stay like this. Sometimes I'll use my little seam ripper just to help me keep it together. I'll take off my needle just like that, just to help me. There we go. A little back and forth. So we took our time, and as you can see, we have no little puckers. Everybody's happy, and everything looks nice. Now, so our color is it. Take the piece we did before, the front with our yoke, put the two pieces together. So now we want to have our color between our two yokes and our front with our facing on both sides. So we start with the middle. We put our notches together like this. Shoulder seam with the other shoulder seam like this. We match the notch beside the end of the color here, all the way like this. Our facing in the center ends at our notch like this, because afterwards we're going to turn our hem and the facing is going to be enclosed in the hem. So it's normal that it ends at our notch. Okay. And we can here. We do the same thing on the other side. And as you can see, before we do the other side, we can little tuk tuk like this on this side also. What I like to do, if I can give you a trick, sometimes when you start from the bottom and then you go up all around and sometimes your fabric can feed, like, not always like the best because of the bottom teeth of your machine. So what I suggest and what I like to do, I'll start at the center and I'll go to corner down, and I'll start at the center, corner down. So I'll do left side and then right side. That way I know that I'm more stable with my sewing and I won't end up with like corners that are like maybe half an inch or a quarter of an inch too long on one side and things not matching on one bottom. So doing it that way, you have less mistakes. Okay. So if you want to be really accurate, it's good to sew on top of the seam you sewed before. That way everything is gonna line up. So let's start. We'll do a little back and forth. Okay. And never leave your fabric hanging from your machine, because you don't realize it, but it pulls everything. So always keep the excess fabric to the side. it's going to be easier to sew a straight line that way. Okay. Here I have the button loop, so I really want to be careful. I'll just put it to this side so that when I sew at 5/8, I'm sure not to catch the side of it because it has to be like at the corner. So I'm just going to put it to this side. Okay. And here, I'll go like this. I'll go back a little. See, I didn't go back straight. That should have been straight. And what I can do is lower my stitch length. Oops, I'm still going backwards. Okay, and then I'm going to see when I turn on my at 5/8, I should go back a tiny bit. So I'll go back and look again. I'm about at 5/8 now. So now I'll bring my button loop back where it's supposed to be. Okay, so everything lines up. My button loop is there. I can squish it a little with my fingers. And I'm still at 1.5. So I'll go forward. I'll go back a little again. That way I'll be able to cut really close to the corner. So when I flip it, it's gonna look nice. So I'll go a little further again. And now I can go back to a normal stitch length. So now see my facing is exactly CB1. I'm exactly at the notch, which makes me really happy. I love it when everything goes to plan. Cut my thread and we'll do the other side. So when I do the other side, I can either go like this and hope to stitch on top of the other one, or I can put my fabric on the other side, which I prefer to do because my machine has enough space. And I also have a line here for 5/8. So I can go like this. And do the same thing. Don't forget to measure, like this is the line here, but you can also put your foot down and take a ruler and measure, and then you can put like a line here. And it's going to do the same thing. I would do that. It's a little weird having your fabric to one side and looking at this side. You have to get used to it, but you're going to be sure to stitch on top of the other stitch line. And it's really easier. So we're doing the other side. Okay. If I turn, oh, one more. We'll just give it a little, okay. So then we go on the other side, a little down. We go back to 2.5 and so we sewed all the way around, bottom, facing, neckline, the other side. And our color is encased inside. And we took our time so they're not little puckers. Woohoo! So you can grade your seams like this so you don't have like too much layers, and you can clip your corners like this, usually what I do is I just fold it like with my fingers like this, and I grab it with my index finger, my thumb, and I flip it like that, and I push with my index finger, and then I'll turn it like this. Usually I push with my scissors, which is not a good practice. You should use a little pointer like that so you don't break the weave of the fabric, and then you can push like this. But the trick is at the end, you have to shake it a little like that. And it's gonna help like that. Sometimes when it really doesn't want to cooperate, if you're very careful, you can go to the end and slowly like pull it out like this, but very slowly, because you don't want to break the thread, you don't want to break the fabric. So you can go like this. So that's a pretty good corner. I mean, for that thickness of fabric, I would say that's like an A+. I think it would be harder to have it more pointy than that. Okay, so you're gonna press everything like this. Fine. So here you can push it like this. And you still want to see a tiny line of the fabric from the front. Here it's the tail. You're gonna press it. A lot of people don't like to iron, but it's the trick. If you iron, you're going to have really professional looking. You sew one seam, you iron the seam. You sew one seam, you iron the seam. It's always ironing. Like, sewing is not using your sewing machine. Sewing is pinning, cutting fabric, ironing, trimming. Using the machine is maybe like 20% of the work. Here you really want to, and don't be afraid to like pull the thread and place everything and push it with your fingers before you iron, because you want it to be where you want it to be before you iron. And steam is your friend, and don't be afraid to, like, not too hot that sometimes you have like a synthetic fabric that is gonna melt, but you need a hot iron. When you get places where it's thick like that, you can even sometimes use like a rubber hammer and tap it a little to flatten it. This one is easy because we can boop, and just have to pull on the loop, so that's easier. And you can put your hand after like that just to really press it. I don't know what's the scientific theory behind that. I know the wood takes like the steam. The hand, I don't know.
The hand cools it down.
It cools it down. That's it. Yeah, because it's hot on my.
So you lock the fibers.
Okay.
By removing the steam and by cooling it.
Ah, I didn't know. I just knew that it worked every time I did it, but I didn't know the scientific explanation behind it. So now, almost done. Okay. So now we have the inside. And remember, we had this little part here of the shoulder that was all alone by itself. So what we do is when we put both of them together like this, we want the inside to look all nice like this. So what we do, see, so yeah, if I take that away, we have our inside yoke, outside yoke, facing, that's our front, like this. So we are going to go inside, or both of our yokes like this. And we are going to grab the yoke with the seam, the back seam, the back shoulder seam, I should say. And we see like here we start facing, and we're going to grab those 3 layers. So then we have our notch with our notch here, and we're going to sew from there up to our notch on both sides. And look, you go just a little further than your notch. So if we look, we have a beautiful shoulder, beautiful color, and our button loop here. That's our center here. And if we look inside, everything is enclosed, our color is enclosed, and here it's all nice and clean. Our facing. So we are going to attach our back to our back yoke, and we're going to put our beautiful pleat in. So that's the next step. So that's our back. I'll open it up. You have 4 notches, actually 5. So what you are going to do is you take the extremities, this one in the middle, and this one is going to pleat like this, and you're going to put the notches in the extremity to the center. So your pleat is going like inside, like this. So if you want, you can do a little stay stitch. So right side to right side. So you're gonna put it like this to the right side of your back. The middle where the 2 folds of your pleat meet, that's the center. So you're gonna put your notch to the center. So then I'm gonna put my pin like this. And we're gonna sew our back. We're gonna sew our back yoke. If you want to make sure that everything matches in the middle, you can start middle to the right, middle to the left. But we don't have a lot of layers, so I'll start from one end to the other. We sew at 5/8. Now we have our beautiful back with our pleat, beautiful pleat. So you really want to have your pleat touch. So I'll use my hand and I'll press my seam beautifully. And what the ham does also is when you have a lot of fabric like that, if you press on like a flat surface, you will see it on the other side and it never looks nice. So if you don't want that to happen, you place your seam on the side of your ham like this. So then when you use your iron, you're only touching like maybe from here to here of your seam. So you're pressing it, but you're not pressing here. So then you won't get that. You get like a nice iron seam, but you don't get the imprint on the outside. So we have our inside facing, that's lonely. We have a curler facing, that's our front. And here we have on the outside. First, you take your front and you're gonna roll it. like this. Take the other side. Roll it like this, like a little burrito. Then you're going to take your back and you're going to do the same thing. Roll it like a little burrito. So what you're doing is your front part, you're rolling it towards your shoulder seam, like this. And your back, you're going to roll it towards the bottom of your yoke, of your outside or exterior yoke. So then our yoke seam appears. We give ourselves a little room. So it's going to be tight, but trust the process. You're going to take it and you're going to put center to center, following with your notches. Okay, and don't be scared to like this. So you just have to make sure that you only grab the seam allowance and the back, because if you grab some of the back fabric between, it won't work. So you really have to make sure, like with your fingers, push the fabric, make sure you only have those 3 layers. So we'll go to the sewing machine. So we take our time and you try to sew on top of your previous stitch line. So here, I'll take it again. So you push the fabric. Okay, so we have our little burrito with our bottom yoke seam also. So now we have to get everything out from one side of the yoke at the back shoulder. Yeah. So then everything goes through the side and everything looks so nice and beautiful inside. And in the back, everything is nice and close too. So that wraps up the inverted burrito method. I really hope that you learned something new and that you enjoy wearing your Fran. Like we said in the introduction, perfect for lounging at home or going out. It's like the perfect everyday
Peace.
piece you can use.
Yeah. If you make it, please share it with us. If you have social media, you can share it, the top, the bottom, the full pajama, as many pajamas as you make, with the hashtag ClosetCoreFran. Happy sewing!
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Good? Action! I love it. It's great.
I know it's gonna
It's
be
really
funny
fun.
too.
Yeah.